think we've all had those situations where suddenly 3 or 4 months have passed and you're like, wait, what is this? Where is this even going? I just don't want those almost relationships anymore. What could have? If we only did these things, he'd be all in. Why, after 3 or 4 months of us seeing each other exclusively, is he not all in?
Mwah.
Hi, friends. Oh my God, it actually feels really good to be behind this mic again. So I took a little time away. Now, some of it was planned, and some of it was just life, doing what life does. And when life shifts, how you see love and relationships and what really matters actually shifts too. This podcast has always been about reinvention. It's been about dating, relationships, and figuring ourselves out, but also the reinvention, right? And I just feel like I was getting too broad. Like it was just getting where I was having guests on and doing interviews on all kinds of stuff, anything that felt like it tied to somebody finding themselves again and reinventing themselves. And while I loved that we were able to go broad like that. I really miss talking about just dating and relationships. And so 2026 is about me really honing in on that. I want to bring back talking about dating as a whole, how to find your perfect match, relationships when you're in them, when you're out of them, how to be single, and then also the dating profiles. That's always been something I'm very interested in because I've been in the dating pool a lot over the last however many years, and it feels like it's getting worse. Like these dating profiles are insane, you guys. Like they are so all over the place. I literally saw a guy holding a fish the other day on one. I mean, I thought we all knew holding the fish was out. Gym, gym selfies and fish photos. We thought that was out, right? No, still happening. So here's the deal. I am back. I am back for 2026 with even more clarity about what I want the show to be about and how I want to show up for you guys. So this new chapter for Mrs. to Ms. is going to be very focused on dating and relationships and dating profiles. We're going to have real talk, smart talk. We're going to laugh, of course. We're going to talk some hard truths. We're going to be honest. We're going to have some shock and awe. We're going to put ourselves out there. And hopefully, we're going to have conversations that make us all, you know, a little wiser about all this stuff. So I'm really happy to be back with you guys. I really am. So just so you kind of know where I was at a little bit, not to get too much into it, because number one, I don't want to go on forever, but number two, it's emotional for me. So I took a little break because I needed it. Um, Life happened, loss happened, big emotional shifts happened, and sometimes you just need the space to just breathe and reset. And so I had a couple little trips planned, some cruises that were already in the works. And at the end of last season, I talked about the struggles of role reversal when you as a child now need to take care of your mother or your father, your parents that are, coming to the end of their lives and what that's like to help them through that transition. But also to be there and recognize that you're losing a parent and the responsibilities that then come with that. And I also really realized that, when life reminds you how precious time is, you want to stop wasting on the wrong things and the wrong people, right? Which is why we're going to really dive into that with dating and how life shifts and life transitions can really affect your relationships, your dating, and how you see yourself. Um, so unfortunately, my mom did pass away um, right at the end of 2025. And of course, I'm still emotional about it. I'm still grieving about it. So I'm just going to try and get through this without crying. But it was a very, very tough time, and I had to make some tough decisions. I decided not to go back to my mom's home to be there when she was passing. I had just gone there in November when she fell and broke her hip, and I was there with her, and I watched her recover from that, which she was so strong and had such a great spirit and so determined to get better in a short time frame. And so we thought she was going to be going home a little bit early from that. And unfortunately, she ended up having a stroke. And when I left there at Thanksgiving, and I remember, about to walk out of the room and looking back at her and just thinking, is this the last time I'm going to see her? She looked so beautiful. Her face was so full. Everything about her was just glowing. And I remember thinking, is this kind of like that calm before the storm, or where something happens before another downfall? And unfortunately, I was correct. So fast forward a little bit, and not to get all into the details, we had to end up taking her off dialysis. There was no way to continue because the stroke messed up the port in her arm. And so we had to make that decision, and she made that decision to come off the dialysis. And I think one of the hardest things about that, both for her and for myself, was just knowing how in tune she still was. What a smart, smart woman she is. And her mind was just, still right up there. And the problem was that her body was failing. And so it was really difficult to kind of understand that contrast of how her mind can still be so good, but her body be so bad. And so she was really questioning her decision to come off the dialysis. And unfortunately, she didn't have a choice based on the fact that we couldn't put a port in anywhere else. And, it was hard. It felt like a death sentence. So, um, yeah, she died 12 days later, and it's been rough. I'm used to talking to her every day, for the last especially 8 years, and her being involved in my dating life, and what's been going on, always wanting pictures, and my dating life was her soap opera. So it's been a little difficult. It's been a lot difficult. Who am I kidding? And I'm just trying to navigate through it all and get back on my feet. And that starts here. It starts with this podcast and just diving back in and being real and authentic and recognizing that these life transitions and things that are happening in your lives do affect every aspect of your life and how you show up for someone else. And also to talk about who shows up for you and what expectations come along with that. So I'm really excited to dive into some of that. You know, I, I think it's going to be really great conversations. And you know what? We're going to start out right now. I don't want to, dwell on this too much about what happened and get all emotional again. So we're just going to dive into this right now. I want to talk to you guys about what I'm no longer doing in dating. It is done. I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And one thing that became just really clear to me is that there are some things that I'm just not going to do anymore. And so I'm going to tell you what those are. I have 8 really great things that I've decided I'm no longer going to do in dating. And I want to share these 8 things with you, take you along for the ride, see if you agree. Maybe you have your own. We shall see. Number 1, I'm not entertaining inconsistency anymore. I cannot handle the hot and cold energy. One week you're great, the next week you're distant. Excuses are being made instead of effort. I feel like I've got whiplash because I don't know my up from my down and when you're okay and when you're not. And I think a lot of us try to be really understanding during this time. We try to tell ourselves, well, they're busy, they're stressed, they're figuring things out. But consistency, you guys, is not a huge ask. It's actually the bare minimum. It is so minimal. And if someone likes you just shouldn't feel confused like this all the time. It should be very clear. It should be very consistent. There shouldn't be those questions because consistency builds safety. And without that consistency, can you really build anything real? Okay, number 2, I'm not over explaining my needs anymore. I used to think I just explained myself calmly enough, clearly enough, kindly enough, they would get it, right? Simple. I just need to be clear on what I need and they'll be on board with it. But the right person doesn't need a full presentation to understand just basic emotional needs. I don't want to have to convince someone to treat me well. I don't want to have to convince someone to support me when a parent or someone is dying. I don't want to have to convince anyone to call me when I'm sick or check on me. I can express what I need once or twice, but if they miss it or gets ignored, well, that is like data for me, right? And that's kind of what we're doing here with dating. We're collecting data. We're seeing if they stand up to what we're looking for, what our expectations are. Number three, not ignoring red flags. I'm not ignoring the red flags. Red flags rarely show up all at once, right? They show up in little moments all over the place. You might be fine for a while. You got a lot of green flags coming your way, and all of a sudden, this red one comes out of nowhere. And if I'm honest, most of the time we see them, but we don't want to believe them, right? Like that's the hard part. You just don't want to believe them, even though you know what they are, you know they're true, and you know they're right there in front of you, and you want to choose to ignore them. So whether it's poor communication, emotional unavailability, just still being tied to an ex, avoiding defining anything, we see it. We see those red flags. But now I'm seeing it earlier, and I'm trusting them earlier, and I'm getting out earlier. So that's my plan. Number four, I'm not confusing attention with intention. Okay. So when I'm saying that, someone texting you every day doesn't necessarily mean they're serious about you, and vice versa. If they're not texting you every day, it doesn't mean that they're not serious about you. Compliments don't equal commitment, and chemistry does not equal consistency. And we really have to figure out and determine the difference between those things so that we're understanding and not being blindsided or blocked by things that are not true in fact. And attention feels good, but intention feels secure. So let me say that again because I think I muffled a little bit, but attention feels good, but intention feels secure. I want someone that is moving towards me and not just kind of orbiting around me, right? Like that's more of what we want. Okay, number five, I'm not trying to be the cool girl. Now, don't get me wrong, I am the cool girl. And I am, pretty easy to get along with. I'm a guy's guy. I don't let things, bother me too much. I'm not really offended by stuff. I don't hold grudges. I just kind of let things roll off my back. So in my eyes, I am a cool girl. But I think that a lot of women have tried to be the easygoing one, the chill one, the low maintenance one, and pretending that we're fine with things does not mean we're fine. So I really want to kind of discern between the two of those because I can say I'm a cool chick, if you will, because of all of these things that I can do, right? Like I can let things roll off my back. I don't hold grudges. I am a guy's guy. I can go along with the punches. I can tune in on the dirty jokes, whatever that may be. But there's also a difference between just going along with things and saying that they're fine when they're not. And so that's where I'm drawing the line of not trying to be the cool girl. I'm going to speak up when something bothers me. I don't just want to be like, oh, yeah, that's great. And then, behind the scenes, I'm like, I can't believe he did this, or I can't believe he said that, or I would never want to go do this. I mean, you're just setting yourself up for failure there because now they think that you are okay with these certain things. And so, should it come up again, how do you now turn around and go back and say, yeah, I'm not really good with that? So, you got to be like straight up front and acting unbothered. It doesn't, really give us the clarity that we're looking for. And meanwhile, inside now, we're feeling anxious and we're feeling confused, and it causes more issues than just speaking up in the first place. So I would rather be the clear woman than the cool woman. Okay. Number six, I'm not staying in the gray area too long. There's nothing wrong with letting things unfold naturally. Don't get me wrong. But if months go by and you still don't know where this is going, you've not had any kind of conversation that's going to DTR what you're at, meaning define the relationship, then that is avoidance. And clarity is attractive. Ambiguity is exhausting. You guys, clarity is attractive. Ambiguity is exhausting. So I want to be in the very clear phase of my relationships when I'm dating. I want to be straight up. I want to be honest. I want to just know where things are headed. I'm not rushing things. I'm allowing things to unfold naturally. but I want to put myself out there and be honest. Okay. Number 7, I'm not pouring into someone who's unsure about me. No, no, no. I want mutual enthusiasm here. I want to feel things reciprocated. I don't want someone that's just like slowly warming up to me over 6 months while I'm giving all my energy and all my time. I want someone to be excited about me. I don't want someone that's like evaluating me. So it's really important to be sure about your person and have them be sure about you as well. Right. Okay. Number 8, I'm not wasting months in almost relationships or situationship. Now, I think we've all had those situations where suddenly 3 or 4 months have passed and you're like, wait, what is this? Where is this even going? I just don't want those almost relationships anymore. I think it's just frustrating because why, after 3 or 4 months of us spending all our time together, meeting family and friends and doing all of these things, are we not having that conversation and becoming exclusive and letting each other know where we're at and defining the relationship? That should absolutely be happening. So just remember, you guys, time is too valuable. And like I said, I'm really getting this a lot from what I've been going through over the last few months, just recognizing how short life can be and that you want to spend as much time with people that you want to be around. And you want to find your person that is going to be there for you and support you and do all of these amazing things for you. And so you got to get rid of the bullshit. And those 8 things are the bullshit that I'm trying to get rid of this year. So I hope you're on board with me with at least 1 or 2 of them, if not all 8 of them. And if you have more, I'd love to hear from you of things that you are done accepting this year when it comes to dating. And I would love for you to message me at Andrea at from Mrs. the number 2 Ms.com, or you can DM me at from.mrs. the number 2.ms on Instagram and TikTok. I really do want to hear from you guys. This is really super helpful when you do. So remember that. Now, let's talk about what I do want more of. Those are the things I'm no longer doing, but there are things that I do want more of. I want ease and I want effort and I want emotional availability and I want clear communication and I want to have fun again. And most of all, I just want some peace. I mean, butterflies are cute and all, but peace is better, right? And all of those things that I talked about before that I don't want, well, we got to remember like consistency and clarity and, mutual interest and reciprocation. Those things are attractive. Those are the things that we do want in our lives. And I think a lot of us are getting to that place right now. We're getting to that wiser and clear and, we're a little bit more protective of our time and energy, but we're still hopeful, of course. And so we need to find somebody that acknowledges those things and they respect those things and allows us all to be in this great headspace where we're all feeling wanted, needed, loved, fun and enjoyment and ease and effort and peace and all of those good things. We all want to be in that same place. So let's work towards that this year because I do believe great relationships are possible when we date with intention instead of just emotion. So let's intentionally put out there what we are looking for and where we see ourselves. So I kind of want to talk about the state of dating right now. Because it's different for everybody, of course, but it's just difficult, period. Right. And so I kind of want to talk about this for a second. Is it just me, or does it feel very different to everybody? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these, I see a lot of posts, I see a lot of comments, and it feels like we are angry. Women, and I'm only speaking for the women here, it feels like women are angry. We are so quick to block, to drop, to ignore, to ghost, whatever it may be. They do one thing wrong, and we are just out of there. And I'm not saying that, when they do treat us badly or they say disrespectful things, that we shouldn't make those decisions to cut them off or move on. But I do think we need to kind of really evaluate the situation a little bit more, right? Because sometimes guys are just being guys, and we got to remember that we're not the same. So they might joke around, they might say little things here and there, or, take a little dig or try to see what they can get away with a little bit. Just pay attention to that. Use it as data. It doesn't mean that you have to immediately cut them off and block them when you hardly even know anything about them. And let me say, I think it's really tough for men out there right now. They don't know how to act. we want them to be emotional, but then if they're emotional, they're too sensitive. And then if they're not emotional, then they're insensitive and they don't have a heart. And, they're trying to do things for us, but we want to be feminines and we want to be, we don't want the door held open for us. We don't want you paying for our dinner because we make our own money, so they don't really have a place here. The Me Too movement, they're afraid to say anything. They can't even say, you look nice today for the fear of somebody thinking that they're being disrespectful and they get included in this Me Too movement. It's hard. They don't have a place and they're trying to find their way. And I'm not defending them. I'm not saying that everything that they're doing is right, but I am saying to give a little grace and to take a little bit of a step back and just allow things to unfold naturally instead of always jumping to conclusions or expecting, that they are going to be always on their best behavior because we know we're not, right? Not always. Anyways, I think intentionally dating, like I said, that's what I'm looking for this year. Knowing what you want. Pay attention to your actions, not ignoring the red flags that we just talked about, and not settling just because someone is nice or you have an attraction to them. We don't need perfect, but we do need alignment. And that's super important. So, this is the new era of From Mrs. to Ms. We're talking dating, we're talking relationships, communication, attraction, emotional intelligence, real experiences, real conversations. I'm going to be doing solo episodes like this. I'm going to be trying to keep this in a really great pattern so you know what to expect. I'm going to have 1 week of just me doing solo episodes, really talking about, dating and relationships as a whole, but also what I'm going through. I'm going to be honest about my experiences and oh, if I got some for you. So we're going to talk about that. But I also want to hear your experiences. So I want you guys to join in with me on these conversations and give me your feedback and your scenarios because I would love to kind of put them on the air and get some feedback on those as well or give you mine. I'm going to be bringing on great guests once a month. We're going to have so many wonderful guests about dating intentionally, about how to find your perfect match. We're going to talk about attachment styles. We'll talk a little bit about love languages, finding your perfect match while in your faith. All of that good stuff. We have so much to cover over the next 12 months, and I'm very excited about all the guests that I'm bringing on. So I hope you're excited too. I'm also going to have some fun girl talk episodes. I'm going to have some of my girlfriends on so we can kind of just, shoot the shit and see how things are going with each of us within our lives. And we kind of feed off each other and help each other. And then I'm also bringing in a male perspective. I'm going to try and have that series once a month where I do have a friend of mine from Hidden Innuendos podcast, and he's going to be coming on. And I think we're going to be talking about dating profiles and from the man's perspective as well as mine, and really helping you guys to revamp your profile and to make it just the absolute best it can be in order to catch your perfect match and the one that you're interested in getting to know better. So, all of that said, I'm super excited for you guys letting me come back into your life this week, kind of talk about what's happened for me over the last couple of months while I've taken this bit of a break or hiatus. And I know you guys are super supportive of me, and I'm so grateful for that. I would love to ask for you to chip in a little bit more, meaning DM me, message me. You can email me at Andrea at from Mrs. the number 2 Ms.com. I want to just hear from you guys, comments or suggestions or feedback or scenarios. You can DM me on Instagram and TikTok at from.mrs. the number 2.ms. I'm also on YouTube and there's tons of videos and shorts on there. So comment on those. I would love for you to follow and like and subscribe to my stuff because I really want to have more amazing episodes for you guys. And, that's what it's going to take. So, with that said, I want to hear from you. What is the hardest part of dating right now for you? Is it the dating apps? Is it meeting people? Situationships? Is it trying to get over a past relationship or someone? First dates? Communication? DM me on Instagram and tell me. I read everything and I really want this show to speak directly to what you're going through. So I will respond. I will talk about it, on the air if you're okay with that and want me to. If you're not, we don't have to do that either. But I'm honestly trying to help people behind the scenes with their dating profiles, dating clarity, figuring out what you want within your relationships. And so I would love for you guys to join me on that. If you are needing help with your dating profile and getting some dating clarity, I may have a few open spots for that soon where I can help you go one-on-one through your dating profile and get it fixed up with all the right prompts, the pictures. There'll be a couple different options of how you want to embrace my help. So if that's something that you do want help with, please make sure to mention that when you message me and just let me know you might be interested in working with me on your dating profile. All right, guys, with that being said, I am so happy to be back. If you have been here since the beginning with me, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I hope we're going to go on this journey together about dating and finding love in relationships after divorce, tragedy, heartbreak, whatever it might be. We're going to talk about love, dating, relationships, everything in between, but in a smarter, more intentional way. And we're going to laugh a lot along the way. All right. Let's do this together, you guys. We got this. We'll see you next week.